Sorry, I forgot to record. Okay. So before, when we talk about production, so we always discuss about total revenue, total cost, and also profit. And we assume that a firm is going to maximize its profit. Okay. Okay. When we talk about firms, here I will draw some. What's that? I will add new slide. Okay. So production is basically changing output, changing input to output. This is production. Okay. When the producers want to use the input, she will incur costs. For example, to pay for the labor, to pay for the capital they are using, and then all of the things, even for the raw materials, yeah, they have to pay some cost for the production. This cost of production. Okay. Okay, and then after getting all of the inputs that the producers need to produce, they will start the production process and start to produce the output. The output could be goods and services. Okay. When the output is already produced, the producers will sell the output. Yeah. Sell the output to the consumers. By selling those outputs, producers will get some money from the from selling the output. Yeah. The money that the producer get, we call this as total revenue. Or in Indonesia, sometimes we call it as omset ya, omset penjualan. Total penerimaan, total revenue, sama aja sih. Total revenue ya, in Indonesia it means total penerimaan. Okay. Okay. Back to the production process. When the producers needs the inputs, he or she will pay the cost of the production. The cost of the production is called the total cost or TC. Yeah, total cost. Yeah. Okay, that is the illustration. Yeah. Now, here is the total cost and here is the total revenue. For example, the total cost is 1 million rupiah for producing ice cream. Yeah. And the producer got 3 million rupiah from selling the ice cream. So from here, we know that the margin or the gap between total revenue and total cost. Sorry. Total revenue minus the total cost is 2 million rupiah. The 2 million rupiah is what the producers got from the production process, which means it is the profit. Yeah, so here profit is total revenue minus the total cost. Yeah, there is some illustration that basically covers all of our discussion today. So that is about the profit. Yeah, that is about the profit. And later we'll talk about also the total cost. The cost. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the cost here. Talk about it separately, and also here in the production process. We also talk about it later. Production is related to total revenue, since the production produce a number of quantity produced that later, if it is sold, it would be our total revenue. Okay, so we'll talk about cost and production, and also profit. Okay, okay. Here I will be back to the previous slide. The total revenue, is total revenue, atau in Indonesia we call it as total penerimaan ya. Total penerimaan itu rumusnya adalah P dikali Q. Actually, the total revenue is what the producers got from the production process by selling the products. Yeah, for example, if you sell the ice cream, okay, if the price of the ice cream is 3,000 rupiah, and then you could sell the ice cream by the amount of quantity-nya itu adalah 1.000 units. So obviously, the producer will get 3 million rupiah, right? Dari mana nih 3 juta rupiah? Dari mana? Dari 3.000 dikalikan dengan 1.000. 3.000 is the price, ya. 3,000 rupiah is the price, and then 1,000 units is the quantity that the producers could sell. Okay, so total revenue is the amount a firm receives from the sales of its product, its output. Okay, and then when we say and then when we talk about total cost is apa ya? What must be paid by the producers in order to run the production process. That is the total cost. Okay, this is the profit, yeah. Actually, we have two kinds of profit here. We have accounting profit, and then we have economic profit. When we talk about accounting profit first, yeah, accounting profit ACC, ya, profit ACC accounting. We calculate the accounting profit by calculating the total revenue minus the total cost. But here, the total cost is only the accounting cost. I mean, it is only accounting cost. A cost that is actually paid by the producers. It means that it is the explicit cost. The producers paid for it. There is a, what's that? There is a receipt, ya, from the payment of the cost. Jadi selalu ada buktinya lah, kayak benar-benar dibayar nih. Actually paid by the producers. Yang benar-benar dibayar. Meanwhile, for the economic profit here, we also have the economic profit is TR minus TC. But here, the TC, the total cost is the economic cost. What is economic cost? Economic cost includes all the costs, yeah. All the costs, sigma all costs, yeah. In this cost, we have explicit cost and implicit cost. What is implicit cost? Implicit cost is a cost that actually the producer does not pay for it. But the producers lose an opportunity to get that amount of profit. For example, for implicit cost. Here I will give you an illustration. For example, you have a laundry. Yeah, you have a small business. It does people's laundry, ya. Laundry. Oke, laundrynya siapa nih? Ya, ambil satu nama deh. Raisa, ya. Laundrynya Raisa. Okay, the Raisa total revenue would be the price of per kilograms of laundry, yeah, times the quantity that Raisa do the laundry, yeah. For example, the price of the laundry is 10,000 rupiah per kilograms, and then Raisa wash 1,000 kilogram of laundry. So Raisa total revenue would be 10 million rupiah. Okay. Meanwhile, for Raisa cost, here we talk about cost first. Raisa has first an explicit cost. Raisa explicit cost consists of, for example, for the electricity, for the labor, for the labor wage, and then from the detergent, and any other things that Raisa actually pay for it. For example, the total explicit cost is 5 million rupiah. Okay, but Raisa also has implicit cost. For example, Raisa built the laundry in her garage, in her house garage. So this is Raisa house, This is Raisa house, and this is this is the Raisa house. And in front of Raisa's house, there is a garage that is for a long time has not been used, and then Raisa initiates to use the garage for her business, for her laundry. So from here, Raisa, actually, if the garage is, what is that? Kalau misalnya garasinya ini disewain ke orang lain, if Raisa if someone rents Raisa's garage, Raisa could get 6 million rupiah from the rent. For example, Raisa's house is located in the protocol roads. I mean, jalan utama gitu jalan yang cukup ramai. Jadi rumah Raisa terletak di jalan yang cukup ramai. Garasinya ini, Raisa's garage actually can be rented for 6 million rupiah per month. For example. Okay, so here Raisa has two costs, explicit and implicit cost. The explicit cost is what she actually pay for it, and an implicit cost is the cost coming from the benefits that actually Raisa could get if she does not build the business, by renting the garage. So that is our implicit cost. Raisa does not actually pay for it, but Raisa lost the opportunity to get 6 million rupiah from renting the garage. That is the implicit cost. From this illustration, we could calculate two kinds of profit. The first is the accounting profit. From the accounting profit, TR minus TC, but here the TC is only the explicit cost. Okay, so Raisa's accounting profit should be 10 million rupiah minus the 5 million rupiah. Okay, so Raisa's accounting profit should be 5 million rupiah. That is accounting profit. And the second one is Raisa economic profit. Okay, Raisa economic profit is TR minus TC. Here TC, the TC is the explicit plus the implicit. Okay, so Raisa economic profit should be TR itu adalah 10 juta dikurangi TC, berapa nih total cost-nya? Semuanya implicit sama eksplisit, Eksplisitnya 5 juta, kan? Implisitnya 6 juta. So, Raisa total cost would be 11 million rupiah. So, Raisa economic profit is negative 1 million rupiah. So, from here, we could know that economically, Raisa is experiencing a loss. But when we see from the accounting perspective, Raisa got a profit. Yeah, that is the difference between accounting and economic profit. Okay, so far, do you have any questions? Do you have any question, guys? No? Okay. Okay, then if you don't have any question, I'll move into the next slide. Ya. Ini aku udah jelasin ya, jadi nggak usah aku jelasin lagi. Ini juga udah ya secara ini tadi. So we move to the production process ya. Okay, like what I've explained before, production is the creation of goods and services by using inputs. Our inputs here is usually called also as the factors of the production. Okay, production is utilizing input to create output which add the value of the goods in the economy. So here I illustrate the production process in a bakery shop. They use inputs such as modal. Modal itu adalah capital. It could be human capital, money capital, and any other capitals. And then tenaga kerja, it means labor. Tanah, land. Perusahaan, it means entrepreneurship atau skills ya. Skills and entrepreneurship. Okay, so that is the inputs for this bakery production. And then after the production process does occur, it will produce some output. It could be some kinds of, what's that? Pastry or maybe cakes or maybe bread gitu ya. Okay. But when we talk about the production, we cannot run away from the, what's that? The time perspective here. In talking about production, in discussing production theory, we will divide our discussion into in the short run period and then in the long run period. How does it two differs? Yeah, actually, the short run and the long run, actually it's not about the time. For example, in the accounting, yeah, in the introductory accounting courses, maybe you are taught that in the short run is below 1 year and long run is above 1 year. You know? But in the economy, the short run and the long run is not about the time or the year that it has passed. Oke, okay? Jadi kalau di dalam ilmu ekonomi itu short run sama long run-nya bukan dari perspektif waktunya. Ya, kalau di akuntansi mungkin kalian belajar kalau short run itu kalau yang di bawah 1 tahun, long run itu kalau yang di atas 1 tahun, gitu ya. Itu kalau di akuntansi kan. Utang jangka pendek atau short term payable, apa sih? Ya itulah ya, short term apa sih? Utang, ya short term debt gitu ya. Utang jangka pendek. Utang jangka pendek itu yang periode yang harus dibayar kurang dari 1 tahun gitu kan ya. Sedangkan kalau utang jangka pendek. Kalau utang jangka panjang itu yang dibayar boleh lebih dari 1 tahun gitu kan ya. It is in the accounting, okay? But when we talk about economics, the short run and the long run is not about the time, but it is about how the producers could change its input. In the long run, yeah, okay, here our production process here, yeah, we are assuming that we only have capital and labor in our production. So kita mengesampingkan sementara factors of production yang lain. Jadi di sini kita cuma menganggap ada 2 factors of production, which is the capital and the labor. Okay, in the short run, capital is assumed to be fixed. Why? Because it is so hard to add the capital in the short run. Why? Capital can be in the form of machine, can be also in the form of money, gitu ya. When the producer want to add the machines that it has, yeah, they need a longer time in order to buy the machine. In order to add additional machine, the producer should wait for enough time so that he could pay for the machine. So in the short run, we assume that the capital is fixed. Kalau gue jelasin pakai bahasa Indonesia, dalam jangka pendek akan sangat susah untuk produsen untuk menambah dan juga mengurangi jumlah capital atau modal yang dimiliki. Modal ini bisa dalam bentuk mesin dan bisa dalam bentuk uang. Dalam bentuk mesin susah buat nambah. Kenapa? Karena mesin mahal. Karena mesin mahal, harus ngumpulin uang dulu. Jadi susah nih buat dalam short run, buat dalam jangka pendek, buat nambah mesin. Okay? In the short run also, labor is assumed to be variable. So the amount of labor is will vary according to the amount of the production. That's why labor is called the variable input, because the producers could easily add the labor if she needs the labor for the production. If she produce more goods, she could get additional labor. But if she produce less goods, yeah, she could fire off the labor and then use small amount of labor. That's why labor is the variable input. Okay, in the long run, yeah, capital and labor, the two both is assumed to be variable. Why? Because in the long run, the capital that firstly is fixed in the short run could be adjusted. Why? Because in the long run, producer could save money in order to buy the capital. That's why capital is variable inputs in the long run. So that is the perspective of short run and long run in the economics. Okay, next we talk about, okay, from here, do you have any question? Okay, do you have any question, guys? No? Okay. Okay, let me continue, yeah. Okay, next we talk about production function. Yeah, production function is a function which shows the relationship between input and output. So here the relationship could be seen in this equation. So here key or the quantity produced, yeah. Here key, the quantity produced, is the function of the capital and the labor. It means that if okay, the capital and the labor, it means that if we add capital, for example, if we add both inputs, the production will increase also, gitu ya. Okay, that is for the production. Jadi there is a relationship. If you add the capital, you will add also the quantity produced. Okay. Or for example, if you add the labors used, you will see the addition in the quantity produced also. Here in the Koch-Douglas production function, we assume that technology is fixed. It means that there is no technological advancement. And so also the second, K, capital and labor is assumed to be substitution to each other, substitution goods, yeah. Okay. There is for production function. Okay, and then if we talk about production function, don't forget about the short run and the long run perspective. Yeah, in the short run, we have capital to be fixed and labor to be variable. Meanwhile, in the long run, we have capital and labor to be both variable input. Yeah. From this perspective of point, yeah, we have the Cobb-Douglas production function. Quantity is the function of capital and labor for the short run. Yeah. But for the short run, we assume that capital is fixed, right? So here, capital does not change. Yeah? So capital does not change. So we could only see that a change is only comes from the labor. Yeah. Okay. So the change in also is only coming from the labor. So if the labor increasing, the production increasing. Or yeah, if the labor is decreasing, the quantity of production is decreasing. Meanwhile, capital is fixed, so there is no relations between capital and quantity. So in the short run, because capital is fixed, we could say that in the short run, the production function is only the function of the labor. So the amount of production in the short run is only depending on the amount of labor that we are using. Okay, but if we talk about the long run, yeah, the production is the function of capital and labor. Since both of them, capital and labor, is not fixed, it means that they are variable. So the increase in capital, increase in labor, decrease in capital, decrease in labor will influence the quantity produced. So our production function will be the same. Okay, that is the difference between the short run production function and the long run production function. Okay, now we will talk about the short run first, yeah. Okay, we'll talk about the short run first, yeah. This is our short run perspective, yeah. We have here total product. Total product is the number of output produced by using a combination of output. Yeah, here is total product or key, yeah. And then we also have marginal product. Marginal product is the additional unit of output in its addition of variable inputs. Or we could say that marginal product is delta TP divided by delta L. For example, the marginal product is 5, yeah. For example, the marginal product is 5. So we could say that 5 is 5/1. What does the marginal product means? It means that this is, I add the plus, yeah. It means that if we add the labors by 1 unit or by 1 labors, we will have the addition in the quantity of goods produced or in the output by 5 units. Yeah. So 1 additional of labors adds 5 output. That is the illustration for the marginal product. Meanwhile, for the average product is TP, total product, divided by the amount of labor used. Yeah. For example, the total product is 100, and then the total labor you are using is 10 labors. It means that the average product is 10. What does it mean? Yeah. The 10 here means that at average, the labor produces 10 units of product at average. But it doesn't always mean that every labor produces 10 units, yeah, but at average. Okay. That is for total product, marginal product, and average product. Okay. Okay, because here is in the short run, so we could see that our production function is only the function of L, the function of labor. Why? Because capital is assumed to be fixed in the short run. So what is varied is only the labor. Okay. Okay. When we talk about short run perspective, yeah. When we talk about short run perspective, here we have the production function. The total product is the function of the labor used. So you can see here the total product curve, yeah, depend on the amount of labor that the producers are using. Yeah, here we know that the producers will maximize its product in in using 4 to 5 labors. Yeah, here is the total product. Yeah, and then we also talk about the marginal product curve and also the average product. The average product is like here, what is that? They are apa nih? Sorry, it is increasing, yeah. The marginal product first, yeah. The marginal product is increasing over some period of time, over some amount of labor, and then after this, yeah, after the labor 1 to 2, it will decreasing, yeah. When the marginal product is decreasing, yeah, it is called the law of diminishing return. Yeah, the law of diminishing return happens here. Here happens the law of diminishing marginal return. The law of diminishing marginal returns mean that a period that the marginal productivity of labor is negative. Why? Actually, the law of diminishing return is the same of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Yeah. When you consume only one type of goods, you will be easily get bored. Yeah. Your additional utility that comes from the additional consumption of ice cream maybe will obviously decrease over time when you add the quantity of ice cream you are using. I'm sorry, you are consuming. But when we talk about the law of diminishing return, it means that the additional production, the additional output that is produced by one additional labor will be decreasing as you are increasing the labor use. Oke, jadi di sini seiring dengan penambahan labor yang dilakukan, tambahan produksi dari satu tambahan labor yang ditambah itu makin dikit. Kenapa? Ya bisa jadi karena semakin banyak labornya, mereka semakin sering ngerumpi gitu ya, bisa jadi. Jadi mereka kayak tambahan ini justru bakalan ngeganggu gitu ya, maksudnya ngeganggu produksi yang baru dilakukan sama tambahan labornya ini. That is what the law of diminishing returns is. Okay. There is one point you should remember. Here is the total TP maximum, total product maximum. Total product is maximized when here, yeah, when marginal product is equals to 0. Okay, that is your the first highlight that you must remember about this curve. And then the second is about the LDR, yeah, when marginal product is starts to decrease. It means that we are experiencing the LDR, the law of diminishing return. Okay, that is the second that you must remember. And then the third is here. Yeah, the third is here. The marginal product will equal to the average product when the average product is at its maximum point. Yeah, here is the maximum point of the average product. Yeah, and at the maximum point of the average product, the marginal product intersects the average product curve. Yeah, here is the intersection of MP and AP. Okay, that is for the curve. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, no question. Oke deh, kalau no question ya. Okay, that is also the same ya. I will skip this. Actually, this is the numbers that we are using to make this curve ya. Okay, now we talk about cost. The various measures of cost. When we talk about cost ya, total cost is actually the fixed cost plus the variable cost. So when we talk about total cost, we need to talk about the fixed cost and also the variable cost. Okay, first we talk about the fixed cost, yeah. Like its name, yeah, fixed cost. It means that the amount of the fixed cost is fixed, and it does not vary with the quantity of output produced. Yeah, and we also must pay for the fixed cost even if our production is zero. Yeah. That is for the fixed cost. Meanwhile, for the variable cost, like its name, yeah, it is vary, yeah, vary with the quantity of output produced. So variable cost is the actually the function of quantity. Yeah, when the quantity is increasing, the amount of the variable cost will also increase. That is for variable cost. Okay. So next we talk about the formula, yeah. Okay, the average cost first. The average cost is the total cost, yeah, the cost time divided by key. Average variable cost, yeah, average variable cost. It means that variable cost divided by key. Yeah. Maksudnya apa nih? Why this is kenapa di sini ada dalam kurung? Apakah ini artinya VC kali Q? VC kali Q bukan berarti gitu ya. When you see in the formula like what is stated here, it means that VC, yeah, variable cost, is the function of key. The function of key. So here average variable cost means VC per key. But the VC is stated by like this. Yeah, that is the same. For average fixed cost, here we calculate it by dividing fixed cost, yeah, F here, divided by key. Okay. Okay. And then here for the average cost, it means that cost as the function of key divided by key equals to the total cost ya. Total cost itu apa tadi? Total cost itu adalah variable cost ditambah fixed cost kan. Variable cost-nya adalah ini, fixed cost-nya adalah F ya. Okay. So here we had that AC is equal to AVC plus AFC. So here what I have written ya. Total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. Here is the curve ya. Fixed cost, it is constant over time. Variable cost, it increases as the quantity increase. Total cost also increase as the quantity increases. Okay. Meanwhile, average cost is equals to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Here is the curve, and I will explain what is the characteristics from all of these curves ya. Nanti we will talk about the characteristics. Okay. Okay, here's basically the number that we are using to build this curve, yeah, actually. So that does not mean a thing. Okay, so here is cost curve, an illustration and also an explanation about the shape of each curve. The first, average cost and average variable cost is a U shape. It means that if we talk about what is U alphabet, we have the minimum point. Yeah. So here we have the minimum point of average cost. Yeah. I think I will use the what is that, the black ones. Okay. Here is we have the minimum point of average cost, and also we have the minimum point of average variable cost. Yeah, because it is because they are U-shaped, they have the minimum points. Yeah. And then number 2, average fixed cost curve is moving from upper left to the down right position. So here AFC, ya, ini berpindah dari kiri atas ke kanan bawah, and also AFC is asymptotical with the x-axis. So what is asymptotical? Asymptotical, it means that the AFC will, what is that? Kalau aku jelasin pakai bahasa Indonesia ya, AFC ini bakalan mendekati sumbu Q. Ya. So AFC is only approaching the Q axis. Ya, AFC is approaching but never intersects. Ya, never touch the Q axis. Ya. And they are never touching to each other. If you zoom it, at some over time when the quantity is increasing, the AFC will decreasing, will always decreasing. But if we zoom the AFC, kalau kita zoom nih AFC, dia bakalan mendekat tapi nggak sampai berpotongan. Jadi seakan-akan nanti dia deket banget, ya. Seakan-akan dia kayak sejajar gitu sama sumbu Q-nya, tapi padahal kalau kita zoom, ya sebenarnya dia ada titik kayak sebenarnya dia berjarak gitu. Nah, kayak gitu tuh. Kalau kita lihat dari jauh kan seakan-akan kayak udah nempel ya, padahal belum. Itu that is for the AFC characteristics. Yeah, it is asymptotical with the x-axis. Here the x-axis is the Q. Yeah. And then number 3, the distance between AC and AVC is decreasing as producer increase the quantity produced. So AC is here, yeah. When we increase the quantity produced, ya, ini juga dikesanain, we will see that the average variable cost and the average cost will, what is that? Will approaching to each other, yeah. That is for the characteristics number 3. Okay, and then for the characteristic number 4, yeah, when the AC is minimum and when AVC is minimum. Yeah, when AC is minimum and the AVC is minimum, we could see that MC, marginal cost, is intersecting both. Yeah. So here the intersection between marginal cost and average variable cost is when the average cost is at its minimum point, AVC minimum. And then also here when MC intersects the average cost, here is when the AC is minimum. So that is 4 characteristics that you must know about the cost curve. Yeah. So far, do you have any question, guys? Okay, seems like there nggak ada yang buka mic ya. Udah, semoga ngerti ya. Okay. Now we will talk about one curve that is so special, yeah. Which curve? It is the average curve, yeah. When we talk, sorry. My mom is cooking so that what is that? Jadi aromanya itu menusuk hidung ya. Okay, so we talk about the average curves, yeah. the average cost curve. And the average cost curve is U-shaped, yeah. When it is decreasing, when the ACE decreasing, it means that if the producer increases the quantity it produces, the average cost per unit will decrease. It is the economies of scale condition. Okay, but when the average cost is increasing, yeah, as the quantity produced increasing, when the quantity produced increase, yeah, the quantity-nya naik, yeah, the average cost will also increase. Yeah, it is the diseconomies of scale. But how about the minimum point of the average cost? It is the efficient scale of production. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So when we talk about economies of scale and also diseconomies of scale, it is possible that producers experience the three conditions that are stated here. Yeah. But there is a producer who only experiencing the economies of scale here, yeah. If a firm enjoys economies of scale at all outputs level, then it is efficient to have one firm to produce the entire market output. Jadi kalau misalnya ada perusahaan yang AC-nya itu terus menurun over time, ya, terus menurun, dia AC-nya terus menurun, nggak pernah AC-nya naik, ya. Jadi the average cost is always decreasing as the quantity increase. Then we could say that these producers, yeah, is natural monopoly. Yeah. So the producer is monopoly that are naturally shaped by their cost structures. Gitu. Okay. So from this curve, we could see that the economy scale is what the producers want. Actually, what the producers want is not to be in the diseconomies of scale, kan? What the producers have, what the producers want could be the economies of scale or could be the efficient scale. So, how should the producers do in order to achieve the economies of scale? Yeah. The economies, I mean, sorry. Why the economies of scale exists? Why the average cost is decreasing and then at some point it increases? Because these three sources, yeah. For example, the first is the large fixed setup cost. Ya, ketika pertama kali bikin usaha itu butuh banyak biaya. Jadi pertama pasti tinggi nih harganya, ya. At first, the producers must pay for the fixed cost that is huge, yeah, that is a huge amount. And then, of course, the average cost will be high in the first time. Okay. Also, there is the transportation cost, and also in the first condition that they are entering the market, they need the research and development cost, so that the average cost will be high in it will be high first, yeah. Okay, that is for the economies of scale, yeah. Okay, that is for the economies of scale, and then we talk the last is about the envelope curve. Yeah, actually, this is for the envelope curve here. For the short run and long run, actually in the short run and also in the long run, like what I have explained before, yeah, in here, yeah. In the short run and also in the long run. Actually, it only differs from okay, gue pindahin ke sini ya. Yeah, in the short run, because we only had, in the short run, because we had capital is fixed and also the labor is variable. From the usage of the capital, we have fixed capital here, fixed cost, I mean. From the usage of labor, we have variable cost here. So in the short run, we has variable cost and also we has fixed cost. Okay. Meanwhile, for the long run, we only have variable cost here. Okay. That is the explanation for these slides. Yeah. And then, okay, when we talk about long run, actually, what differs is only the average curve. Yeah. When we talk about the average curve in the short run, when we talk about the average curve in the short run, yeah, in the short run, the average curve is actually like a U-shaped, ya, benar-benar gitu ya. Kayak benar-benar apa nih namanya ya? Benar-benar rendah gitu loh. Nah, ini gabungan-gabungan short run ya. Oke, ini aku gabungan short run gitu ya. Nah, what I would like to discuss now is about the envelope curve. What does it mean? Yeah, here we have average cost, for example, in month 1 in January, average cost in February, average cost in March, April, May, and then until the average cost in December, and then until the next year, average cost 16 maybe. All right, 18. So we have a combination of average cost for 18 months, gitu kan ya. We have the combination of average cost in 18 months. And then when we talk about the combination of average cost in the short run, here we have 18 months, yeah. We could combine them all to build an average cost in the long run. To build only one average cost in the long run. How could we build that long run average cost? We could build that long run average cost by, yeah, this is the cost and this is the quantity produced, yeah. For example, if you would like to produce from this, yeah, I mean, if you want to produce at this quantity until this quantity, you will be using the average cost one. Yeah, from the Q1 to Q2, you will use the average cost one. Why? Yeah, because this is the average cost. There is no other average cost that is that lies above the Q1 and Q2. Okay. Okay. No. Okay. So now we have some parts of the average, the long run average cost. Yeah. And then if you are producing from Q2 to Q3 here, where I mean, what is the average cost? Yeah, we will choose the average cost that is lower than any other average cost. Actually, in the Q2 and Q3 here, we have 3 average costs, right? Average cost 1, di sini ada average cost 1, average cost 2 juga ada. Terus di sini juga ada average cost 3. Yeah, but we know from this point, yeah, from Q2 to Q3, the lowest average cost, the lowest average cost is the average cost 2. So average cost 2 will be the part of our long run AC. From the 2 illustrations, we could assume that our average cost from apa nih, dari untuk kuantitas 3 ke kuantitas 4 ini ya. So this would be our long run average cost, and then ini juga bakalan jadi long run average cost kita, ini long run average cost kita, ini juga, ini kan ya. Nah, yeah. So we have built here our long run average cost that is green. Ya. Jadi yang green ini adalah long run average cost kita. Ya. But to make it very smooth gitu ya, to make it smoothly ya, aku langsung aja nih assume, ya udahlah biar mulus ya. Bikin AC-nya gini aja deh. Boleh, nggak apa-apa kayak gitu boleh. Oke. Oke, that is our long run average cost ya. Nah, so on the short run and the long run only differs in the average cost. ya. Okay, so you also should remember that when the average cost is minimum, ya, asumsiin aja minimumnya di sini ya. When the average cost is minimum, the marginal cost curve will intersect the AC. So here our long run marginal cost curves, ya. Oke, walaupun pertama tadi aku nyebutin kalau yang berubah cuma LRAC, tapi karena LRAC berubah ini, maka LRMC-nya juga berubah. Gitu. Oke. Oke. Ada yang mau ditanyain nggak? Ada yang mau tanya? Enggak ya. Jadi itu pengertian apa ya namanya? What is the difference between the cost in the short run and also in the long run? Ya. Oke. Oke deh. Untuk pengertiannya juga sama ya. In the long run, we also have the economies of scale here. Sorry. Kayaknya harus pakai yang lain ya. Ini namanya adalah economies of scale gitu kan ya. Yang ini namanya adalah diseconomies of scale. Yang ini namanya adalah titik yang paling efisien dalam berproduksi, or efficient scale, and the most efficient point in production. Okay, so that is the explanation from today's tutorial classes. And here in the apa ya, two slides, in the next two slides, I will shows you the example of last year's midterm test. Yeah. Okay. We will try to answer these questions. Yeah. This is for the previous years. Yeah. The previous year tahun lalu. Yeah. The previous year midterm test. Okay. Let's try to do this. Actually, okay, because karena kita setiap tutorial classes actually have explained some of the midterm tests, yeah. I think it is okay that it is okay that we don't have any additional classes for the midterm test. Actually, because it is already the 11th October and you will start the midterm test by the Thursday, ya, I think you only need to study apa ya, udah mulai kepepet gitu ya, udah pengennya belajar sendiri kan ya biasanya. Oke deh. Oke. Nah, kita coba baca ya. The following table shows the production and cost of the coffee shop of toko kopi Nyonya. Ya, ini dikasih tahu nih the number of laborers, number of machines ya. Number of labor berarti L ya. Number of machine berarti capital. Output berarti Q. Marginal product of labor MPL gini ya. Labor cost berarti ini uang yang dikeluarin buat ini ya, buat wage-nya gitu ya. Kemudian ini adalah cost of the machines ya. Atau R-nya gitu ya. Harga dari mesin itu R. Kalau ini cost of the labor, sebenarnya kan harga dari labor itu wage ya. Actually, the cost of the labor is wage, but here you could see that the wage is increasing. Yeah, why? Because the number of labor we are using and is also increasing. Yeah, here is wage times the amount of labor used, and then this is the rent times the capital we are using. Yeah, so here is the total cost. Ya, ini adalah dari labor cost-nya ditambah ya labor cost yang W kali R ditambah rent kali capital. Ya, the marginal cost ya berarti selisih antara selisih itu apa sih? The marginal cost is TC second condition minus the TC first condition. Ya. Yang A nih. Please complete the table if wage per labor is 20 and the cost per machine is 100. Ya udah, kita tulis aja nih, ya kan? Kita suruh cari nih. Pertama, dari total cost dulu mungkin ya yang bisa kita kerjain nih. We start from the total cost here. Ya. From the total cost here ya, berarti total cost-nya ini berapa ya? 40 plus 200 ya. 240, 260, 280, 300 ya. And then 300, 320, 340. From here, we could calculate also the marginal cost ya. Ini marginal cost-nya di strip. Kenapa? Because they are the first ya. Yang kedua ini baru ditulis nih, berapa nih selisih antara TC2 and TC1. Here is 240 minus 220 ya. Berarti 20. Ini kayaknya 20 semua ya. Ini juga 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Gitu ya. Oke. Nah, oke. Nah, no ya, sekarang kita mau bahas dari MPL-nya nih ya. Kita kan masih we still need to complete the tabel here ya. Ya, tabelnya nih kita lengkapi nih, marginal product of labor. Gimana nih cara ngitung marginal product of labor ya? Jadi kan kalau MC TC2 kurangi TC1. Marginal product of labor. Waduh, bentar ya guys. Marginal product of labor itu cara menghitungnya adalah total product divided by labor. Oke, bentar ya guys, gue ke WC dulu. Halo guys, sorry ya, ini tadi ke WC dulu sebentar. Oke. Nah, next we calculate the marginal product ya. Kita calculate aja dulu nih the marginal product of labor yang in the second line ya. So berarti kan ini total product divided by labor ya kan. Total produknya ada berapa nih? Ada 10 ya kan. 10 divided by the number of laborsnya berapa nih? 2. Berarti 10 bagi 2. 10 divided by 2. 5 ya berarti. Gitu ya. Oke, 5. Terus next ya. Ini gue zoom aja ya teman-teman semuanya, guys. Oke, nah ini yang ini berarti TP per L. Oke. TP-nya itu 20 divided by labornya berapa nih? 3. Oke. 20 bagi 3, 6,66. Ya, 6.66. Oke. And then next ya. Next ya, ini berarti, waduh, bentar. TP per L. TP-nya 35 ya. Ini kan TP nih. TP itu yang ini nih. TP per 4. TP per 4. Berapa nih? TP per 4. $8.75 ya. Terus next ya, yang ini TP per L. TP per L. 45 ya TP-nya. 55 per 5. 11 ya. And then yang selanjutnya nih TP per L 70 per 6. Oke, berapa nih? 11.6. 666 kayaknya ya. Oke. And then the last ya. TP per L ya. TP-nya 80 per number of labor-nya 7 ya. Berarti 80 divided by 7. It is 11.43 ya. 0.43. So we have already completed the tables ya. So we start the option B ya. When is Tokopedia experiencing a diminishing marginal product? Ya kalau kayak gini berarti kita mulai we see the answer from the column ini ya, from the marginal product of labor column ya. So when is the diminishing marginal product? Ya when it is when the marginal product start to decrease. Here we could see that if we use 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ya, the marginal product is still increasing, but ya dia mulai decreasing, but the marginal product starts to decrease when we add the number of labor to 7, ya, from 6 to 7. Ya, so to answer this, when-nya itu adalah in the 7 labor, gitu ya. So that is how to answer this question, ya. Oke. Ada yang mau bertanya? Do you have any question, guys? Oke, ada yang mau bertanya? Nggak ada nih ya, masih cukup gampang lah ya. Oke, nah sekarang nomor 7 nih. Ini masih sama tentang yang ini ya, masih sama tentang production. Below is the table of production of sofa bed by Vitotti Modern Living, VML. Ini labor, jumlah labor workers per week-nya. Ini adalah this is the output what it is asked at point A, ya. Calculate the average product of labor and the marginal product of labor. Terus kalian suruh tanya ini, explain the relationship between APL and MPL. Sebenarnya nggak usah jawab pun kalian udah bisa jawab ya. Sebenarnya by not calculating the APL and also the MPL, actually you should you could answer by knowing this relationship ya, by knowing the relationship of MP and AP here ya, the relationship of MP and AP. I will take it here ya. So what is the relationship between AP and MP ya? The relationship is when the AP is maximum. When AP maximum ya, ini kan, when AP is maximum here ya, ini kan AP maksimum, MP is equal to AP. So that is the relationship that we brought from the previous slides. Ya. So I will delete it. This is our expectation, and we will see whether it's true or not ya, by calculating the APL and the MPL. For APL, it is the TP divided by L, ya kan? Meanwhile, for MPL, it is the delta TP per delta L. Okay. So here the APL is, ya udah, yang ini berarti 30, ya kan? 30 per 1, ya kan? Berarti ini 30. Oke. Ini 70 per 2, berarti 35. Ini 120 per 3 berarti 40. Ini 160 divided by 4 berarti 40 ya. Ini 190 divided by 5 adalah 38 ya. Yang ini 210 divided by 6 berapa nih? Okay, 35. And here 120 divided by 7. It is 31.4. Yeah, so that is the average product. Now let's continue by calculating the marginal productivity of labor ya, because this is our first observation, so here we don't have any MPL ya. Ini gue kasih garis warna hitam kali ya, biar kelihatan ya. Nah, ya sorry. Nah, oke. Yang ini berarti gimana nih? The second MPL ya, berarti TP2 kurangi TP1 ya kan, berarti 70 kurangi 30, 40. Ya udah, nambahnya berapa ya? 40 dibagi 2 kurangi 1, 40 bagi 1, berarti 40. Sesimpel sebenarnya kalian lihat as simple as you only subtract the second to the first, the second to the first ya. Ini kan 70 minus 30 40 ya kan. Berarti ini plus 40. Ini plus 50, ini plus 40 lagi gitu kan ya. Ini plus 30, ini plus 20, ini plus 10 gitu kan. Ya udah, berarti ini nilainya adalah 40, 50, 40, 30, 70 lagi, 20, 10 ini kan. Nah, is the relationship true? Nah, kalian bisa lihat, you can see here ya. When AP maksimum, kita lihat nih, AP maksimum saat mana nih? The AP will be maximum 40 ya kan? Oke, berarti ini maksimumnya. The AP will be maximum if MP equal AP. Kita lihat nih, sama nggak nih? Wah, ternyata sama nih buat yang di sini, gitu kan? So, yeah, the relationship what we have written and hypothesized here is true, ya, for option A. Okay. For option B, suppose that VML rests rents a factory building, the rental cost ya. Gue tulis aja di sini R-nya, the rental cost is 1,000 USD per week. Oke, and then the wage yang dia pakai adalah VML pays each of its workers at USD 500 a week. Jadi each workersnya ya, setiap workernya dihargai 500. Calculate the total cost, total fixed cost, and marginal cost, average cost, dan average variable cost. Oke? Because kayaknya ini udah terlalu penuh ya. Ini gue copy aja. Terus yang jawaban yang A ini gue hapus ya. Oke. What it is asked kan, now we would like to calculate the total cost ya, total fixed cost, and total variable cost. Nah, we will start with, total cost ya. Ini total fixed cost. Atau fixed cost saja, ini variable cost ya. Nah, fixed cost is the cost coming from the consumption or the usage of the rental ya, of the building ya. Because it is a fixed cost, ya udah berarti a week. Ya, we only the fixed cost is ya don't vary kan. Ya udah 1.000 aja semuanya kan, karena ya rental building ya, R ini adalah cost dari yang fixed inputnya itu. Nah, 1.000 ya. Meanwhile, for the variable cost, it is the cost coming from the labor. Jadi di sini adalah wage dikali jumlah labor yang ini nih. Ini L yang ini nih. Ya udah, berarti wage-nya kan 500 nih ya. 500 times 1 berarti 500. 500 times 2 berarti 1,000. 500 times 3 berarti 1,500. Ini berarti 2.000 ya kan? 2,500, 3,000, and 500. Okay? And then if we want to calculate the total cost ya, we just sum up the fixed cost plus the variable cost. Karena ini berarti 1.500, 2,000, 2,050, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, 4,000, and 500. Oke, jadi total cost udah, total fixed cost dan total variable cost is also done. Now the marginal cost. Ya, marginal cost is delta TC per delta Q. Ya kan? Ya kan benar? Marginal cost is delta TC per delta Q. Nah, di sini kita harus hati-hati ya. Kita nggak bisa langsung melihat how much the total cost is changing, but we also should calculate, for example, for the first ya. Here, for example, the marginal cost first is TC second condition minus TC first condition per Q second condition minus Q first condition. The TC for the second condition ini ya 2,000. MC untuk yang pertama itu selalu nggak ada ya. Jadi, sorry, ini MC-nya nggak ada, but for this berarti MC-nya itu adalah jadi TC2 minus TC1 per Q2 minus Q1. Ini kan TC1-nya 2,000 minus TC1-nya 1,500 ya kan. Per Q2-nya ini adalah 70 ya. Minus 30. Ya kan? Berarti di sini adalah 40 ya kan? Berarti ini atasnya 500. Ya, 500 sorry. 500 divided by 40. 500 divided by 40. Berapa nih? 12,5. Gitu kan ya? Ini equals, coret-coret, 12.5. Ya. And then you next calculate the marginal cost. Ya. For example ya, I will calculate the marginal cost from the last ya. For the last, marginal cost equal to marginal cost equal to TC second condition minus TC first condition plus T second condition minus quantity first condition. TC first conditionnya ya 4,500 minus 4,000 ya kan, ini first conditionnya, divided by 220 minus 210. Nah, di sini berarti kita punya 500 divided by 10. Ya, hasilnya adalah 50. Okay, that is for the marginal cost. Ya, for the maybe we can write it down ya in the Excel sih sebenarnya ya. You could calculate easily by using Excel sih sebenarnya. Oke. Nah, later for the C ya, is there any specific relationship or pattern that you find among them? Nah, nanti kamu setelah menghitung ya, after you calculate the marginal cost and then the average cost and the average variable cost gitu ya, you will get the relationship by illustrating them in a curve. Jadi you try to grab them all. Yeah, hopefully you will get the same like this illustration ya. Oke, jadi nanti tinggal dihitung aja nih untuk marginal cost satu-satunya, and then average cost ya. Remember AC ya, untuk AC itu rumusnya adalah TC per Q ya. Ya udah, you divide ini, kamu divide aja yang TC ini dibagi dengan Q yang ini, ya kan? TC yang ini dibagi dengan Q yang ini. Ya. For example, untuk yang kondisi yang pertama ya, berarti 1.500 nih, AC-nya ya, 1.500 bagi 30 ya. 1,500 divided by 30, berapa nih? 50 gitu ya. Dan seterusnya. Ini buat average cost. Terus buat average variable cost gimana? Ya udah, buat AVC ya, AVC nih di sini. AVC itu kan berarti rumusnya adalah VC per Q, ya kan? Ya udah, you divide this VC by Q. Dan calculating, then you draw. Ya, gambar aja dengan perbandingan yang kira-kira ya, dengan kira-kira aja. Yang penting kamu bisa lihat patternnya, dan patternnya itu ya, hopefully make sure kamu berpacu ya, make sure you are also seeing this karakteristik ya. Karakteristik yang ini nih jangan sampai lupa. Oke. Aku taruh di sini ya. I will put it here. Nah, karakteristik yang ini don't forget, oke? Don't ever forget. Okay? This is for the characteristics. Okay, guys. So far, do you have any question? Because I don't do all of the parts of the answers of this question, yeah. But hopefully it gives you a broader understanding, so that if the same questions will appear in your exams, you will not be nggak bakal kaget gitu ya. You will not be surprised with the question. Okay, do you have any question, guys, before I try to end this meeting? Do you have any question? Okay, if you don't have any question, you can ask me via line. Okay, just state what is your questions, and then if I know and if I have some leisure time to answer your questions, I will answer right away. Okay? Okay? Are you sure there is no question? Okay deh. Okay, no questions. Okay deh. Thank you guys for your time attending my tutorial classes today. I hope to see you after your midterm test, and I hope you will have best of luck for your midterm test. Good luck. And then don't forget, this afternoon we still have classes. We still have a class. And Femi also told to me that in Wednesday at 2 p.m. Indonesian Western time, we will have a quiz, yeah, consisting of 40 questions. Okay. Do you have any questions so far for the quiz, or maybe for the midterm test, or maybe from the materials? No? You don't have any questions? Okay. Okay? No ya? Yaudah. If you don't have any questions, then...
Kak, izin aja, Kak.
Oh, boleh.
Yang tadi itu quiz paralel, Kak?
Enggak, quiznya Bu Feby aja.
Oh, oke, Kak.
Yes.
Tadi hari Rabu ya, Kak?
Ya, Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Wednesday. Oke, Kak.
40 ya, at 40. Jam 2. Rabu, third session. Oke. Thank you semuanya udah datang ya. I hope you a nice weekdays. Good luck for the start for your first midterm, for your first also exams in your college. I wish you best of luck. Thank you semuanya. Good luck ya.
Thank you, Kak.
Thank you, Kak.
Ida.